She slept beside her husband's corpse for years and swore the grave would never have him. Joanna of Castile entered history in 1479, third child of Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile, the Catholic monarchs who stitched Spain into a single crown. From infancy, she breathed incense and intrigue. Priests chanting at dawn, diplomats bowing at dusk, steel-tipped quills scratching treaties that would redraw a continent. She mastered Latin before her 10th birthday, debated theology with bishops, and danced so fiercely her silk slippers frayed by midnight. Foreign ambassadors praised her lucid mind and melancholy beauty. Yet even then, the court whispered about eyes that lingered too long on shadows and a voice that drifted into song when no one spoke. To cement Spain's alliance with the Low Countries, Isabella betrothed 16-year-old Joanna to Philip of Habsburg, known across Europe as Philip the Handsome, a nickname that says everything about his face and nothing about his heart. The wedding at Leer in 1496 glittered like hammered gold. Choirs of alabaster angels, fountains spouting red wine, roses strewn ankle-deep across the streets. Joanna met Philip at the church door, and witnesses swore sparks leapt between them, lust so volcanic their attendants had to tear them apart during the nuptial mass. Within weeks, she was pregnant. Within months, she was eclipsed. Philip kept mistresses in every palace, gambled through dawn, and laughed when Joanna demanded fidelity. Court gossip dripped into her veins like poison. She tore another woman's hair out by the roots, sliced the sleeves off a lady-in-waiting's gown, and once, in midnight rage, tried to hurl herself from a window before servants wrestled her back. Philip responded with cool horror. The mad Castilian, he called her behind velvet drapes, while he petitioned her mother to send more dowry money. Isabella's death in 1504 changed everything. By law, Joanna became Queen of Castile, the richest kingdom on the Iberian Peninsula, but a crown weighed heavier than grief. Philip schemed to seize her title. Ferdinand plotted to regain it. Diplomats compared the royal trio to a serpent devouring its own tail. Rumors of Joanna's instability became weapons sharper than any sword. At court dinners, Philip's men winked and tapped their foreheads when she entered. Ferdinand's envoys whispered tales of her roaming corridors barefoot, hair unbound, muttering to saints no one else could see. She spent hours stroking the infant heads of her children, then cursed them as demons before collapsing in sobs. Was it postpartum depression, inherited psychosis, or deliberate gaslighting by two ambitious men? No physician dared diagnose the queen whose sanity determined the fate of Spain. Then plague swept Brussels in 1506, and Philip died overnight. Some said fever, others whispered poison. Joanna's world cracked like winter ice. She refused embalming. She refused burial. She ordered the coffin sealed in lead and draped in black velvet, then chained it inside her bedchamber so no woman could touch her husband even in death. Courtiers woke to the scrape of wood across stone, Joanna dragging the casket closer, whispering through metal pores, begging Philip to answer. When decay forced attendants to move the body outside the walls, she followed on foot, barefoot in snow, shrieking at those who called her mad. For 8 months she crisscrossed Castile by torchlight, the coffin clattering in a wagon behind her, stopping at monasteries only if they housed no nuns, because jealousy survives rigor mortis. Villagers watched the grim procession with growing dread. They claimed the queen kissed the lead lid each dawn, melted candles so wax tears slid like sweat down its sides, and pried open the seal to stroke what remained of Philip's face. Chroniclers describe a smell that humbled horses and servants vomiting behind hedgerows. One night, robbers attacked the convoy outside Torquemada, hoping to steal royal jewels rumored buried with the corpse. Joanna brandished a sword and drove them off herself, hair matted across her cheeks, nightgown soaked in sleet. Witnesses swore lightning split the sky as she screamed, "He is mine in life and death," words that traveled Europe faster than plague ships. Ferdinand seized his chance. He met his daughter on the outskirts of Tordesillas, embraced her, then quietly ordered troops to surround the camp. At dawn, they carted Philip's coffin into the nearby convent and locked Joanna behind the same walls. Ferdinand proclaimed himself regent for the good of Castile because its rightful queen suffered alienation of mind. Thus began 46 years of captivity. Joanna paced a single stone courtyard while seasons peeled away like paint. Scorching summers, iron winters, rains that hammered roof tiles into lullabies of despair. She fasted until her cheeks caved, then gorged on bread crusts that made her vomit. She spoke only to her confessor and to Philip, whose coffin mouldered in a chapel a few doors away. Every rumor magnified her legend. A nun claimed she heard Joanna laughing with invisible courtiers. A guard swore he saw her levitating during Mass. Habsburg envoys reported that spiders spun webs across her hair and she never brushed them away. Perhaps the strangest testimony came from her daughter Catalina, who visited in 1525. Joanna greeted her kindly, asked after her health, then inquired whether the world still revolved around the sun, a question 75 years before Copernicus published his theory. Was the Mad Queen glimpsing cosmic truths, or had isolation sharpened her mind into shards no one else understood? Her only constant companion was music. She begged for viols, for shawms, for any instrument that could pierce stone. When none arrived, she sang hymns until her throat cracked, then whispered lullabies to the shadows. Some nights she refused to sleep, fearing servants would steal Philip's remains. Other nights she slept so deeply storms rattled shutters and she never stirred. Doctors bled her, purged her, applied leeches behind her ears, standard cures for hysteria. Yet nothing erased the grief tattooed across her soul. In 1516, Ferdinand died, and power passed to Joanna's son Charles. Soon, Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor. He visited Tordesillas once, kissed his mother's hand, and confirmed her imprisonment with a single nod. He needed a sane monarch for Spain. Her release would fracture his empire before it began. So the Queen of Castile stayed a prisoner, her crown a rumor, her kingdom ruled by men who spoke of duty while forging dynasties in her name. She lasted until 1555, longer than Isabella, Ferdinand, Philip, and most who called her mad. At 76, she lay in the same convent cell, breath shallow, eyes fixed on a ceiling she had memorized like scripture. Nuns asked if she wanted last rites. She murmured something about Philip waiting in the next room. When she died, attendants finally pried open the lead coffin. Inside, they found bones wrapped in rotten brocade, a skull grinning as if still flattered by the adoration that had ruined a queen. Modern psychiatrists debate her diagnosis: schizoaffective disorder, bipolar psychosis, severe depression compounded by trauma. Feminist historians see political sabotage, a brilliant woman silenced by fathers and sons who feared her sovereignty more than her instability. Archivists sift her letters and find lucid policy advice, impeccable arithmetic, and tender concern for her children. Yet folklore clings to the image of Juana la Loca, the Mad Queen, kissing a corpse under moonlit arches. In Tordesillas, a bronze statue marks the spot where she paced with her casket. Tour guides recount the legend to wide-eyed visitors: the queen who loved too fiercely and paid with her mind. Each year on Good Friday, locals reenact her midnight march. Women in black veils, men carrying an empty bier, candles guttering in the wind. They say the real Juana still walks ahead, unseen but heard, her slippers sliding over cobblestones, searching for a throne she never truly sat upon. Hundreds of years have passed, yet Joanna of Castile refuses to fade. Locked doors could not silence her grief. Stone walls could not contain her legend. Her story stands bare in the annals of empire, asking how far obsession can push a heart and how long memory can cradle the dead. If this unsettling tale of a queen who loved beyond sanity gripped you, tap like and subscribe for more forgotten chapters that history tried and failed to bury. We're only beginning to exhume the past, and the next crypt is already creaking open.